Welcome to Taste Buds. I'm Debra Eckerling, goal strategist, writer, and foodie. And today I'm speaking with Jeremy Kneller Hernandez, the founder and owner of Kneller's Delicatessen and Appetizing in Tucson. Welcome, Jeremy.
Yeah, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
I first have to ask you, what is this appetizing in the title of your restaurant?
Yeah, so it's like kind of an homage to an old dying culture on the East Coast of New York and New Jersey. Um, there's a lot of delicatessens out there that also include appetizing in the name, or there's just places that are called appetizing, which is an old term for going to grab you know, goodies for a smorgasbord or a picnic or a counter or a family gathering and having some spreads. So a lot of salads, fish salads, pickled goods, marinated olives, that kind of thing. So that's where that term comes from. You don't really see it on the Western Hemisphere or anywhere.
And how did you become a deli and appetizing owner?
So I've been in the industry, well, just the restaurant industry since I was 15, cooking, bartending, serving, managing, chefing, and then eventually consulting. Um, and finally, just a few years ago, I wanted to put some faith in myself and finally do it for myself and my family. And this is an homage to pretty much nostalgia from New York. Growing up, I was dropped off on at my grandparents every summer. And I'd spend all my summers in Queens and Syosset, Long Island. And me and my grandpa were very close. We'd go to delicatessens almost every morning. The vibe is just, there's nothing like it, especially here in Tucson. I don't know about the West Coast, but there's just nothing like a barbershop with food. Everyone knows each other, You sit down, you have your coffee. We got the New York Times here. You're reading the paper. Everyone knows each other by name, and it's just cozy. And I wanted to bring that vibe here to the desert. I was
Oh,
born in Tucson. My dad's Hispanic. He's from East LA, and my mom's from Queens, and she's Jewish. And so we ended up here because my dad got a job at Keno Hospital in the psych ward l- before I was born, like right before I was born. So that's how I was born here. And then I was just split growing up, East Coast and here after the divorce. Yeah. Kind of like
right.
a transplant, just like pulled back and forth. Mhm.
You do not hear of a lot of delis in Arizona.
No.
It doesn't have that vibe. So was it like a New York homesickness that said I need, or was it more like my city needs this kind of a restaurant? What was the
I think
inspiration
both.
for you?
Both. I mean, it's a niche that needs to be filled. We have a ton of New York and East Coast transplants here in Tucson, probably in Phoenix too. But this whole area is growing and growing and growing every day, and yeah, it's just such a. I mean, the food is so unique to this region. No one's got house brine pastrami. No one cures their own lox. You don't have a deli case full of like old school house smoked white fish salad, potato salad, egg salad, that kind of stuff. So it's like it was kind of a no brainer. And I started working on recipes, my grandmother's, my aunt's recipes, and tweaked them, of course, with my own fine tuning. But I was just, yeah, it just was made sense to pull the trigger on this concept.
And was there an aha moment where you're like, okay, it's time for me to do this thing?
Yeah. Um. So before doing this, I partnered up with someone who moved onto our property, like kind of a communal housing area downtown, and he's from Morocco. And I was doing consulting, and I had some extra time on my hands, and he brought back all these spices. Long story short, we started making Moroccan food, and I was kind of the guy behind the curtain. Um, didn't work out. We did it for a couple of years. We got a lot of buzz. It was fun, and I figured out that doing pop ups was a new way of really getting yourself out there on like on a buck, like no budget whatsoever, right? So when that partnership ended, I had this on the back burner for probably 5 years and just been working on recipes and thinking of concept and colors. branding and that kind of stuff, and always wanted to do an homage to the fam. Um, and so when that ended, it was that exact moment where I was like, okay, cool, nothing's in my way, let's go. And I just pulled the trigger. I got very fortunate with someone who believed in me and lent me a little bit of money to get started. And so yeah, that's how that worked. Yeah,
What is it that you think you love the most about what you do?
definitely the people. Yeah, uh, the crew, having fun, connecting with people here, and really just making people feel something. Um, that's what it's all about. Is just making people feel.
Okay, and you want them to feel, hungry, nostalgic,
Want 'em to
um
feel, welcomed and warm, you know? I mean, growing up, I always worked in the restaurants or would go to delicatessens and would just be dropped off and, like, just hung out in delis, you know? Mhm. And it was like a second family, so when I have people in the restaurant or in the deli here who are literally hanging out all day, eating breakfast and lunch and talking to people, and it's just a vibe, it's like, yeah, it warms my heart.
that's so nice, and then you got to be or you get to be the person who creates that, so I totally, totally dig that.
Yeah.
What
Honor. It's definitely an honor.
and it always sounds funny for me to ask this question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. I feel like you're like a throwback to original
Mhm.
delis,
Mhm.
but in what way has the deli culture changed over the years?
Definitely finesse, a lot more seasoning, a lot more flavor in certain, like, traditional recipes, you know? And I'll get, you don't find Knish anywhere in Tucson or Arizona or even maybe Chompies in Phoenix. That it. But Knishes back home, like they're all right. I more like love the nostalgia behind it and just going to a little bakery, a Knish bakery, grabbing a few or a dozen for a family event. But they were never seasoned; they were always so plain, you know. So here we're putting a lot more love in that filling and the pastry dough. And, we add brisket to it, house smoked brisket, or we have a knish of the day and we have fun. We do pizza knish or artichoke, olive tapenade, or mushroom and Swiss, just stuff like that. So definitely taking these old dinosaurs playbooks and evolving it and kind of growing with the times, 'cause I think they're dying out for a reason because a lot of these a lot of these people, which are very proud, and I understand it, it's a very, very specific and particular niche culture. But they're dying. Every time I go back to New York, I see another deli closing down. I see another little bakery closing down. It's like we gotta grow. We gotta grow with the times.
What parts of your Hispanic background do you bring into your deli? Because I'd imagine that's where this love of spice and flavor comes from.
hmm you just said it. There's definitely a lot of spice and flavor. So, yeah, I also am partnered up with the hot sauce company, which we have here. Uh, so we make our own hot sauce. It's called Jabati, and we have it in a few places in town. So we have fun. We do some pickled jalapenos and do some bagels, some lox bagels with that. Um, but definitely with some seasoning and spices I brought on. I haven't changed it. I haven't changed or gone crazy with it, but the opportunity is always there.
Do you have particular recipes that you like, whether it's for your restaurant or just at home, where you're just doing big Mexican Jewish fusion?
I have to say, not really. Oh, I did do a huge batch of carne asada knish once, and that was really fun to make. Um, we're already talking about doing a special in a couple weeks of doing like a birria knish. So you dip the knish in birria with the birria meat, goat meat inside. Um, and then we might be adding one to the menu eventually. It was a hit. People keep asking for it back, but we did a lox bagel with pickled jalapeno, and then we made a infused hot sauce with our hot sauce cream cheese, and a spicy chili vinegar on top. So it like gives it a nice spicy, flavorful kick. So probably the most I've done with, like, a Mexican Jewish fusion. I thought about maybe going that route with the restaurant, but I think it's too much.
Well, it feels to me like you're doing in, like, baby steps, little bits at
A
a
little
time
bit.
to get people
Little
excited about it. Do you feel as a chef, it's an advantage to have so much culture from different areas in your back pocket?
very much so. Yeah, I'm very grateful to have had both experiences. It makes sense now. It didn't when I was young. It was a little confusing, but
Oh,
now it's like, "Oh, cool. Now I have, like, the best of both worlds," you know?
okay, so when you were younger, were your cultures more separate?
Very much so. Yeah, very total opposite ends of the spectrum. Yes.
Do you remember your earliest food memory for either or both sides of your heritage?
It's funny, I was actually asked this the other day, and I do. I think I was, like, 2 or 3, very young, and I remember this so vividly, but I loved butter. Who doesn't, right?
Right.
And, I would steal a stick of butter and sneak into my mom's van in the garage and just, like, go chow town on a stick of butter. And, like, yeah, that's probably the earliest that's, like, the earliest memory I have of, like, loving food, you know what I mean? Or the smell of butter, like, on a pan almost burnt is just, like, heaven. It was, like I just always remember that.
Now do you remember your earliest cooking memory?
Yeah, scrambled eggs. Yeah, my grandma taught me to make scrambled eggs when I was, I don't know. I don't even remember what age. I was super young. Very,
Okay.
very but yeah. Fluffy, creamy scrambled eggs, she taught me how to whip it, add a little cream, and then after learning that, I loved waking up and cooking for the family when we had family over, and I would just cook eggs and here.
And so did you know really young that you were going to go the chef route?
No, I was a musician. My dad's a really talented musician, and I would, I used to sing with him and do concerts and whatnot back in the day with me, my sister, and my dad. So my dad's side of the family, they're all musically talented. It was just in our blood. And, and so that was the first route that I took was wanting to be a professional musician and then learn the hard way that that is a very hard thing to do.
Okay, so what inspired you, to go the food route then? Or it was "This isn't working, what else do I love?" How did you leap from musician to this career, which apparently, obviously, you also love?
Yeah, yeah. That's a good question. I hopped around the states and moved up north. Was in Oregon, trying to do the music thing, joining bands, touring, all that jazz, and was kind of a reckless fool. I got into some trouble, and when I got my shit together like 10 years ago, the restaurant kind of revitalized me back to life. Nate Aries is a restaurateur in town. He's owns, Prep and Pastry, Common and Co. He had Flores, they just closed, and he's in Phoenix now and expanding. Um, he took me off the streets and, gave me a job. And I had to start from ground zero because I was doing well in the restaurant industry beforehand, but I had to get my feet I had to get back on my feet and I guess that experience, they welcomed me in a family, which I lost connection to a lot of my family and my friends at that time. And so, yeah, I just fell in love with it again and knew after a few years being there, uh, that that's what I wanted to do was to make people, welcome and feel warm. Uh,
Well, it makes sense though. What we were talking about before when I asked you what you love the most about it was the people, the community, the connection,
here.
and that, like, revitalized you, so you are, like, not just nourishing people's bellies, but their spirits by providing the same respite that you needed, so
You, right. I hope that I am and can do the same, that was done for me. So that's it. Yeah.
Well, I think you're off to a really good start in creating this space that is a throwback, but also a place of comfort.
Mhm.
What words of advice do you have for somebody who's maybe wandering and trying to revitalize, their soul?
Just throw a shot in the dark at something. And and if you don't like it, then throw another one, you know. And really like what was a huge influence for me was to find someone who I was like, "Oh, damn, this fool's got it. Like he's got what I want." And soak it up. Be a sponge. Humble yourself, learn. If you really want it, it's there for you. It's gonna take a lot of work though, but it's there.
Well, and the other side of what I do is goal strategist. So if life's not working, you you have a choice. You can keep spiraling or you could choose to find something else.
Right.
And I love your insights because, try something, anything. And if it's not the thing, there are other things.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but you gotta do something.
What is your comfort food of choice? What do you eat when you need to feel that, like eat that love, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Um, it changes from time to time. Like when I was in Oregon, it was definitely like sushi, or like just raw salmon, sashimi salmon. Like it was like a drug. And then now it's more of like I love I love Taiwanese food, like hot pots, Szechuan Chinese food. There is so much ridiculous amount of flavor and complex recipes, and it's just beautiful when it all comes together in a soup with noodles. It's like amazing. Yeah, that's probably where I'm at with the comfort food.
Do you have a recipe that you love that you wanna share?
Um, yeah, I would I would put up our pastrami, but that is a very big secret that I cannot share because it is damn good pastrami, and you know how it goes with that. But I'd love to share a recipe of my knish. It's a tweaked version of my great aunt's knish that she used to make. And I like sharing it. Like I'm doing a cooking class. We have at the JCC here in October 17th, I believe, which is a Friday. Um, of teaching a good amount of people our knish recipe. And there's something about the flow of making knish. Hopefully, there's someone in the kitchen with you when you're doing it, or you're listening to a podcast, or you're bumping some music, and then you just dive in and you zone out. And there's a flow to making your own pastry dough, and the timing has to be just right with letting the dough rest and then rolling it out. And your potatoes are almost done as you're rolling it, and then it's a beautiful like a song. It's a beautiful melody that comes together with just perfect timing, and it's fun to make and it's really fun to master. And once you do it, it's just like second nature, you know.
Well, I was, hoping you were gonna say Knish after your Knish tangent earlier in the
Oh, cool. Okay.
conversation,
So
so
you're
I'm
gonna
really, really excited about that,
right on.
and it really sounds like you brought your love of music into the kitchen through cooking.
Yeah. No, we always have music bumping. We uh, curated a pretty cool playlist in the deli, like dining area and whatnot, and add to it every day and whatnot. So yeah,
And what kind of music then? Is it eclectic?
it's all over. No, it's jazz, hip hop, some old rock, some 90s indie. Um, yeah, it's all over the place.
So, what lessons do you think people can take from music to bring into their kitchen?
What lessons can people take from music? Mm. Well, I don't know. In my opinion, everything's just better with music, you know? Like it's like you're living in your own sitcom or your own movie. And there's just moments in the restaurant biz or industry when shit hit the fan, and you gotta really buckle down and get through the storm and like get through a rush. And when there's like some awesome, loud, passionate music playing in the background, it's more of a force. It's like a driving force for the crew to really zone in and get stuff done. You know what I mean? So
Yes, you're adding the soundtrack
to your life.
to your life.
Yeah.
Love this. Jeremy, this has been so enlightening, and I really appreciate all that you shared in your journey and your
Yeah.
passion for this. Where can people learn more about you and your restaurant?
Yeah. We have a website, nellasdelicatessen.com. We have a pretty awesome social media for Instagram and Facebook. It's just Nella's Delicatessen. We post all the time, tell stories, share our food, um, share other people's food in the community, and really the community in Tucson and in this industry and the music industry is really thriving right now. It's solid, like really solid. People show up for each other. So we like to showcase that too. But yeah, I think there's a couple articles on like Tucson Foodie and Visit Tucson as well that were put out. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, I do typically get hungry through my conversations that I do for Taste Buds, but I am even more hungry than normal. Maybe I need to make some knishes, but I so appreciate you sharing your journey and your passion of food and the power that it has to bring people together and
Yeah.
that warmth, the
Yeah.
nostalgia factor. So thank you, Jeremy. Thank you for tuning in to Taste Buds with Deb. Don't miss an episode. You can subscribe on YouTube, iTunes, and or your favorite podcast platform. And if you go to jewishjournal.com, you can get the recipes and read the articles that go with each episode. And you can learn more at tastebudswithdeb.com. Until next time, turn
Thank
on
you.
some music, do some cooking, and bon appetit.